Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from BlockWorld. Thank you so much for that, man. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or reactions or commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for, he didn't really say review, but sort of a 40th anniversary retrospective on two John Badham films, Blue Thunder and WarGames. I just sort of my thoughts on them, what they mean 40 years later, how prevalent they are, all sorts of stuff. So I'll do my best. Now, I do like John Badham. I think at one point I did a list of my top 10 favorite directors. I think he was in the list. I believe so. Because I liked a lot of his movies. These two, Short Circuit, The Hard Way, Stakeout. I think he has a rather good track record. And yes, these came out in the same year I was born, 1983, so they are 40 years old. It's funny because WarGames initially was not going to be directed by John Badham. It's going to be directed by Martin Brest, who would go on to do Beverly Hills Cop. But he did dailies. During the dailies, the producers saw it. They didn't like what they were seeing. So they brought John Badham in, who at that point had done films like Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. And the way John Badham said it, when he saw the footage, it seemed like it was going to be a much darker movie, much more serious movie, much less fun movie. Like the characters are much more dead serious. But what the director wanted to do, to have it more playful, which is what he did. I mean, you definitely see throughout the film of WarGames, Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy and them being much more playful with each other. Whether it be in her trapping Matthew Broderick's character with her legs and he can't get out and all sorts of stuff. Definitely much more smiling at each other. What was it, that line in the class? I forget what the teacher said, and Matthew Broderick, as smart as goes, "Your wife, sir?" And getting the teacher pissed off about it. And then you have Blue Thunder, starring Roy Scheider, who I've always been a fan of, as well as Daniel Stern. Malcolm McDowell is your villain. Catch you later. Warren Oates, one of the last films he did before he passed away. He was in Stripes as Maholka, the guy training Bill Murray and those characters in Stripes. So both have really good casts in them. And both are very prevalent in today's age. I mean, you look at WarGames, for example, and the way it showcased artificial intelligence, the way it showcased hacking. You know, at that time, hacking was not as well known of a thing. And you saw the old school ways of hacking, using, you dialing every number to try to find the right modem, and these hacker techniques, of course, much more sophisticated nowadays, but also showing, you know, how dangerous it could be to kind of put military warfare and maintenance and weapons into the hands of artificial intelligence, and how that could be such a detriment. And you look at the way AI is being formulated nowadays. I mean, to a lesser extent, you have Siri, you have Alexa, and all this other stuff. I don't have that, but you know, other people do have that kind of stuff. Hey Siri, do this. Hey Alexa, do this. And now there's this whole take on like AI in terms of movies and script writing, artificially intelligence script writing, which, I mean, there haven't been much intelligence in actual human writing nowadays, so maybe it wouldn't be much of a difference or a step up. But where could that lead into the dangers of today? And from what I understand, when this film came out, even like Ronald Reagan saw it and met with people and go, you know, we want to make sure this doesn't happen. Because computers in '83, I mean, they were around, but they're still a new thing. And of course, risen up to how much more sophisticated they are today. Nowadays, if someone in 1983 saw the way computers are nowadays, they would think it would be like Star Wars. So at the same time, you still have that warning, you still have that dilemma of ethical morality playing out. But at the same time, it's entertaining movie. And that's the best way to do it, is that yes, there are movies that do well and work well. That's first and foremost the message. But when you wrap it around in such an entertaining fashion, it will be even much more effective, in my opinion. And you look at WarGames, like Matthew Broderick did a great job playing a very likable hacker, kind of an early stage of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where in that film he's hacked in to get his grades changed. Here, he gets Ali Sheedy's grades changed. And he seems earnest and innocent and wide-eyed, but he has a good, charming sense of humor to him. Ali Sheedy seems very playful, and they have a good rapport with each other. Everyone in the military feels like they fit well in their roles and believable in their military fashion. I mean, you even have, at the first scene in the movie, Michael Madsen, who will later be in the Kill Bill films and Reservoir Dogs. He's one of the two people on the T's. You got to turn it to launch, and one is hesitant, and Michael Madsen pulls his gun. "Turn your T, sir." Which then, because of human hesitation, leads into much more trying to adapt into this artificial intelligence creation, Joshua. And the film itself, I like the idea behind the film. Very, very much ahead of its time. It's interesting to see the early stages of hacking, with the way how it is nowadays and how things have changed, and to see that done in such an early fashion, how playful the film can be. Even like the voice of the computer, "Shall we play ID?" is very much into the human, into the pop culture, I should say. Even the whole, there are people that have never seen the movie that probably still know about the ending of Tic-Tac-Toe and how that sort of saves the day. How if you play a certain way, there can never be a winner. It's always a draw. Same with the Whopper, not the not the fucking Burger King Whopper, but a different Whopper. Going, well, there's no way to win. The best way is to not play at all. And then when you get into Blue Thunder, and that's a film where Roy Scheider and Daniel Stern, they're with the police, and you have this new helicopter that's like a military type of helicopter, but being used for police procedures, including surveillance and military upgraded ammo for riots and riot clearance. How dangerous that can be. And there's thoughts of people worries on whether that could be used in terms of clearing out riots, and how much can the military get involved, and how much can the military should get involved during civilian and civil hostility, but also more surveillance. Like the helicopter able to survey people through buildings and what they can hear. Nowadays, much more sophisticated. And laptops, and be able to hear every word someone says from the push of a button. And also nowadays, drone warfare. I mean, in 1983, probably drones weren't even a pebble in a person's eye. But now, much more prevalent. I'm sure if they try to remake, which I know there's talks of remaking Blue Thunder at one point, I'm sure it would have done with drone technology, but that didn't come to be, which is fine, because I don't need a damn remake. Now, while I do like WarGames, I would say I like Blue Thunder more. I'm much more of an action junkie. Blue Thunder feels more like an action film, while WarGames is more of a thriller. It's a teen movie, but it's a thriller as well. And don't worry about WarGames 2, The Dead Code, I think it was called. Useless, pointless fucking sequel. I'm sure no one fucking remembers except me. And I remember the cover and the title. I don't remember the actual specifics of that movie. But Blue Thunder, I'm a big fan of Roy Scheider. Greatly missed. I loved him in Jaws, even Jaws 2. The Punisher from 2004, he was in. The French Connection. He's a really good, solid actor. Never saw his TV show Sequest, but I've heard of it. And just very fun character. I love the little tidbit of his character where he'll do this thing in a car that he'll always train himself to make sure he's on that he's focused. So he like drive around this garage and make sure you get this in the nick of time. He's always timing himself. You have a bit of friction in a relationship with I forgot her name. I forgot she played she was the waitress in the Blah remake, and she was also in Q the Winged Serpent. Her name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. Damn it! But yeah, she was the good-natured waitress in the Blah remake. Maybe I'll remember her name later. I'm bad with names. Daniel Stern played his new partner. He has, of course, Daniel Stern, a very capable actor from later in Home Alone, Leviathan. At that point, he was in what? Actually, I think this was before Chud. I just think Chud was after this. Because Chud was 84, this was 83. He did a great job in Chud, though. Wonderful in that. And I love the look of the helicopter in that. I love the design of the helicopter. And he did some really impressive set pieces in that movie that a lot of would not be replicated today because it'd be a CGI. It'd be a lot of CGI being utilized. But here you had a real helicopter at times going around buildings and going near buildings. There's a point where F-16s are shooting at it. And sometimes you have some effects like the missiles coming that's not the best. But it's 83, I could give some leniency to it. But then you have like the helicopter moving, and then there's a building, and chunks of the building exploding, windows exploding. There's these shots where Malcolm McDowell's in one helicopter, and where he shot another helicopter, and they're both having this dogfight throughout the urban setting, and going like down low amidst buildings and real explosions firing around. I'm like, wow, how the hell did they get away with this? Such a dangerous affair, but it's so worthwhile on screen because it does so much great production value on it. And also both movies, I should mention, have a pretty good score. My favorite of the two would probably be the score in Blue Thunder. Especially like the main theme, and the rest of the music I enjoy as well. I guess WarGames, like the only little nitpick is once in a while there's some little slow spots in WarGames. Nothing that really ruins the movie for me, but sometimes a little bit of slow spot. But Blue Thunder felt like it had a bit more of a better pace to the movie. And that's why I was hesitating and thinking like, do I really want to admit that? But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say Blue Thunder I thought it was better paced. And I like Malcolm McDowell as the villain. He keeps saying, catch you later. And with this maneuver, which Roy Scheider blasts back at him at the end of the film. And I guarantee 100% Blue Thunder is the reason why you got that TV show Airwolf. Because I don't know if this is true, so bear with me. I think at first they wanted the Blue Thunder TV show, and then they got Airwolf, but then ultimately there was a Blue Thunder TV show. I think the Blue Thunder TV show had like Dana Carvey in it, and Dick Butkus, and the Hightower from Police Academy. Can't believe I forgot his name. Bubba Smith. I think that, and it didn't last long. But I was like, wow, Dana Carvey and Bubba Smith and Dick Butkus? The Bears. But Airwolf, I mean, it didn't. Airwolf lasted a couple seasons. It wasn't like a 10 or 8 season show, but it lasted a couple seasons. But when it hit big time. But it's like one of those supernova shows, as I call it. Kind of like the A-Team or Elf, where when they first hit, they're so big, but then they're so big that they burn out twice as fast. Does you have shows like Friends and even X-Files, and they get big in Seinfeld, but then they last a lot longer. Here, it was such a big supernova that it might burn twice as bright, but it will fizz out twice as fast. And Airwolf was one of those. Which I'm surprised they never did an Airwolf movie now that I think about it. With all these reboots, I'm surprised they never did an Airwolf movie. Huh. I don't know. Not. I guess I'd be curious about it, but could be bad. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, you look at WarGames, and like I said, very much ahead of its time when you look at again all the attributes of the hacking formats, and like I said, you did some likable characters, and sadly enough, I mean, with how stupid people are nowadays, could be something that happened today. If they don't back off on AI intelligence, I mean, maybe it's one of those things. Maybe they need to rewatch WarGames and be like, maybe give it another second or third thought and be a little bit careful on it. And Blue Thunder is just a fun action movie. Yes, it does have some good things to ponder about, again, surveillance and what's the morality of using military technology to deal with civilian unrest and criminal balance, and also surveillance with these helicopters. Although nowadays, I mean, I don't know how often you have helicopters going around trying to survey people. To be fair, but I mean, that could also go into the drone situation, things of that nature. And surveillance, nowadays people just do more with computers and such, not so much helicopters. But so surveillance is a little bit, but I would say that one is much more about the capabilities of nowadays be drone warfare. While again, WarGames, that would probably be a bit more about. Well, I guess that one doesn't really go into surveillance, just in how reliable is AI intelligence when it's told what to do by us, and if we have a lot of insecurities, we have a lot of faults, we're far from a perfect creature, and we're telling something else what to do. So how do you expect it to be perfect when we ourselves are not perfect, not by a long shot? I think with WarGames, which is not the movie's fault, it's just one of the things that has to happen. By the end of the day, it's still a bunch of people looking at computer screens. Now, because of John Badham doing his best in his direction and the likable cast, it makes it easy enough to digest. But still, at the end of the day, it's still people watching computer screens and hoping that the tide will turn. And at least with the script, it's like, okay, try to outthink it with like I said, the tic-tac-toe stuff among other stuff. While again, Blue Thunder, you again get this great cat and mouse helicopter dogfight, and even then, I like when I always think of the trailer. Blah 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 blah, but Murphy, Roy Scheister, Murphy stole their thunder, and the helicopter rises up as these guys are stopping his wife, stopping his love of his life. Maybe not his wife at that time, but his love of his wife. And like he rises up with the helicopter, like get the fuck out of the way, I'm gonna shoot the shit out of your car, and maybe wound the fuck out. You better get the fuck out of my way, or this helicopter don't be shoved every propeller up your sorry ass. And they get the fuck out of there. And like I said, there's some good action set pieces that very fun aerial dogfight battle sequences that again nowadays would be just littered with CGI, but you see what they could do. And maybe sometimes limitations actually help you. Like if you had, like I said, if this movie was made today, it would just be everything on computer screen. Everything would look too sleek, too bright, too perfect that it doesn't look right, and because even life itself doesn't look perfect because your own eyesight or whatever. Now, most people don't have the perfect 20/20 vision. I don't know, but sometimes movies try to look more perfect than real life is, and it just has this fake gloss over it. That film has a bit more substantial nature to it all. And even the way it ends, I love the bit where, you want this shit tough. So he lands the damn helicopter right in front of an oncoming train. And have that same shot where him walking and the thing gets blasted behind him and keep it all in the same frame. And you could tell Roy Scheider, he wanted to not flinch, but he did it anyway. But maybe parents like, they couldn't redo that shot again. But you could tell that. But still, it was a pretty damn nice shot to have the ball in the same frame. I took care of your shit. Eat that. Kiss my ass. Sorry I didn't have my phone. I would look up some info, and I hate that I cannot remember that damn name of that actress. And if I were to reach the Blob Blu-ray, I know she's interviewed, and they say her name on the back. Probably when I shut this off, I'll remember the name. But yeah, both are just great, fun movies, and John Badham directed them. And that was great about John Badham. He could do a lot of different things. WarGames is a very different feeling movie than Blue Thunder. They're both very different from Stakeout. And those are different from... Even The Hard Way has a different feel than Stakeout. And they're both, buddy movies, but they still don't feel like the same movie. Short Circuit feels different from all of them. And that's the thing with John Badham. I think he's an underrated talent that doesn't really get the recognition. I think he deserves more recognition than he's gotten. That's just me. And apparently, because of the 4th anniversary, I guess there was a double bill that he told me, BlockWorld told me that there was a double bill that showed Blue Thunder and WarGames back to back. It just makes sense. It's the 4th anniversary on both of them. And that'd be a fun double bill to see. I also know that WarGames influenced that film Eagle Eye, because on the DVD and the Blu-ray of Eagle Eye, there's a featurette where the director is talking with John Badham and talking about how WarGames influenced him for Eagle Eye. Now, Eagle Eye I actually do enjoy, and that also dealt with an artificial intelligence that is told what to do and is trying to, but in this case has a life of its own, trying to see to its own needs that this is what's needed. And I don't want to get into it, just turn to a review of Eagle Eye, but I do quite enjoy Eagle Eye. Some may say that WarGames is a smarter movie, but I would say Eagle Eye is a more entertaining movie. Much more of an action popcorn movie, and I'm a sucker for those, despite what some people think. And I'm trying to think what else I could say, because so many people talk about these two films. What more can I bring to the table? WarGames, a plot ahead of its time, that simple but very effective. And I love seeing all the old school computers and just marveling just how much technology has changed from then to now. The old school green screen, green numbers, green text type of computers, just how antiquated it looks in the span of 40 years, and go, wow, look how much it's progressed. Imagine what could be progressed in the next 40 years. I mean, I won't be around. Because, well, I just hopefully I'll be around because I'd be 80. So, but you never know, knock on wood. But yeah, it does make you wonder how, 40 years later how things are going to look. So yeah, of the two, I like Blue Thunder a bit more, but they're both very solid, capable movies, and like I said, ahead of their time. Some may say WarGames is a little bit more merit ahead of its time because of the whole hacking, computer, all that stuff. And as I said, Blue Thunder, I would say, is a bit more entertaining of the two. But still, it's a good double feature. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And screw it. I'm going to go over here. You don't watch that. I will find out who the hell this name was. Candy Clark. There you go. Candy Clark. That's who I was thinking of. I cheated, but at least I found out. Candy Clark is who she is. She played Roy Scheider's love interest. Which at times the character, this one nitpick I'll have, sometimes he does seem a bit dickish to her, a bit too dickish to her, but I know there's a whole history within the characters. But he does make up for it by that's all, folks. By the end of it. So. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.